Bulgaria's Gen Z has sent a chilling warning to its government. It has stated that you have angered the wrong generation. So what basically began as a small-scale protest against the budgetary provisions of the government has turned into a full-blown revolution or revolt against the corrupt government of the Bulgaria. So what is the reason why thousands of Gen Z have turned out on the streets of Bulgaria? What is their main anger and what are the key demands they have put against their own government? Now, first of all, to understand the context of this particular issue, we know that on the December 1st, we have seen a massive nationwide protest in one of the small Eastern European countries of Bulgaria. This protest was led mainly by Gen Z, and this is something that we are seeing as a general trend all across the world, whether it is on the streets of Colombia, streets of Nepal, and now on the streets of, we talk about Bulgaria. The main demand of these protesters, especially the young generation, is to revoke 2026 budget, and second also they have asked, because the current regime, current government administration is corrupt in nature, they should resign from their post, from their ministerial post and all that. Also, if you try to understand Bulgaria, it has a bloody history of its own because of the we can call as situation that we have seen in the pre-1990s when you have the communist rule in Bulgaria. That time also a lot of people lost their life while fighting against the dictatorial regime. But in the recent decades, this is the largest protest that we have seen in the Bulgaria itself. Now, before moving forward, if you try to understand where is Bulgaria located? So as you can see from the map here, Bulgaria is on the coast of Black Sea and it is surrounded by several other countries which are referred also as Balkan countries, because all of these countries used to be part of the earlier state of Yugoslavia. So as you can say, surrounded by Romania, one of the other nation, that you have Serbia, Kosovo, North Macedonia, and further to the east, and then in the northeast it is surrounded by Turkey and further Black Sea. So this is the country that we are talking about. The capital of Bulgaria is Sofia. Now, the immediate trigger of this entire protest is believed to be the budget announcement by the government of Bulgaria. It has referred to a consensus budget for the next year, because in this budget proposed higher taxes for the citizens of Bulgaria, which was not received well, as Bulgaria is facing economic crisis of its own, as the wages and salaries have not risen to the extent of inflation. At the same time, there is increased social contribution also that was determined by the budget itself. Government response was new draft budget. Tax and contribution hikes was postponed for 2 years, but by the time damage was done, youth understood it and say too little too late. That means whatever government is doing now, it is no longer sufficient enough to meet our demand, to meet our aspirations such as. So budget, as we have discussed, was the immediate cause, but what was lying beneath was a deeper cause of anger. Now what are these deeper causes? First of all, as we know, in majority of the cases, in most of the countries we have seen Gen Z and youth protesting against the government. It was largely due to the economic aspirations. And same situation we see in the Bulgaria also. The youth generation, the young generation feels that they have less prospect for jobs. Many of the youth are forced to migrate away from Bulgaria to other Western European countries such as Germany, France, UK and all. They feel that living in Bulgaria is no longer an option for them if they want to even have a modest and good life. Same time, business opportunities have shrunk significantly in the nation, and the family life is something that also has become quite difficult, because collectively living together is no longer a choice, and thus the immigration rate, as we discussed, is very high. At the same time, though inflation rate is very high, the job and wages are very low, government is not making sure that at least the healthcare benefits are provided to Bulgarians. So healthcare expenditure is also high, but at the same time the services received by the people are poor in nature. Wages also have remained stagnant, and recent years we have even seen protests by the medical staff, doctors and nurses for hike in their wages as such. Overall, all of these problems youth contribute simply to the political arrogance of the Bulgarian government, as well as the lack of accountability on the part of administrators. Now, as far as the Gen Z protest is concerned, the central demand has been to the end in corruption, because majority of Bulgarian youth believe that corruption is the core issue. Corruption is the main factor that is leading to all the problems that we are seeing in the country today. So Bulgaria, if we talk about also, this is not far from truth actually, because Transparency International, as you know, it ranks countries based on the extent of corruption in the world. So Bulgaria has been ranked second worst in the entire European Union as far as the corruption is concerned. Similarly, we talk about the International Corruption Perception Index as per 2024. There has been a perception of a captured state as far as Bulgaria is concerned. The term captured state here refers to the entire policy of Bulgaria, entire decision making that happens in Bulgaria is by the few people who are driving the policy based on their own interests. As such, we can also say there is some extent of oligarchy that is controlling the politician and politics of Bulgaria. Now, before moving forward, I want to bring your attention to the fact that Legacy as Academy, we are going to soon commence batches. Regular weekday batches are going to start on 15th of December, 19th January, 16th of March, and similarly weekend batches are going to commence on 27th of December, 14th of February and 18th of April for those students who are preparing along with full-time studies and full-time job. Now, apart from that, in this particular program, we ensure comprehensive coverage of all the GS paper, one-to-one mentorship and doubt solving sessions. We also encourage students to interact regularly with faculties and educators, and as we know that the understanding of your strengths and weaknesses is a key requirement to qualify in the UPSC examination. We also have inculcated test series in both prelims and mains examination. At the same time, as UPSC focuses both on static and current affairs, we give adequate importance to current affairs as well. If you want to know more detail about the course programs and feature, you can click the link in the description box of this particular video, or you can give a call to the number being displayed here. Now, coming back to this particular topic, the phases of protest anger, the blame largely is for the phases of protest. They are basically focusing their blame on two different leaders. One is the former Prime Minister of Bulgaria from GERB party known as Boyko Borisov. At the same time, Zhelyazkov was also one of the major politicians in Bulgaria and businessman earlier, who has also been sanctioned by United States and UK. So, their control on the Bulgarian administration and government by many protesters is seen as symbols of oligarchic control. Now, if you try to understand, as we have seen in the Nepal also in the early few months, videos have sparked outrage, and that has created a mass participation in such kind of movement as such on the social media. As you know that most of the youth today is continuously interacting on social media, continuously checking all the information on social media. So, several clips became viral in Bulgaria, and two of these viral clips that was taken from the Bulgarian parliament was something that also is reason behind the protest. In the first clip was a law that was passed within 26 seconds as far as the sanction on Lukoil is concerned. As you know that US has sanctioned Lukoil, which is a Russian oil company. Second, the budget vote was done during lunch break to avoid any protester. This clearly reflects that the opposition parties and their voices does not matter at all as far as the legislation is concerned. It is the members of the ruling party themselves, they make and determine what law has to be made as such. So, it became symbol of political arrogance as well as the erosion of democratic spirit of the country. Now, at the same time, social media and influencers obviously have played a very important role. It is believed that on the TikTok, engagement after December 1 significantly rose in Bulgaria, where more than 488,000 users were continuously using this platform. And this, to understand from early time, it is about 70 times surge, 70 times increase than the normal situation. Influencers have simplified politics via sharing of memes because it becomes more relatable to the people, and they are able to further also use it as a method of communication. Short explainers as well as the anthems of protest. As we have discussed in the beginning of video, the Gen Z has given a chilling warning. They have said that you have angered the wrong generation, and this is also, you can understand, is the core of this entire protest as well. Political impact, if you try to understand, also is something significant because the political parties, especially opposition political parties, we have seen obviously they have joined and lent support to the protesters, but also we are seeing a kind of cross ideological participation, and at the same time it is also being referred by the government as an anti-Euro protest because Bulgaria has decided to adopt Euro as its currency, and government is trying to basically shrug off this protest as nothing but anti-Euro protest. Opposition parties from PPDB, they have moved a no confidence motion in the parliament, and experts warn that it seems that there is no other option out but to conduct an early elections in Bulgaria if this protest have to be controlled in a limited time. The significance is, if we try to understand the significance and takeaways from this entire protest, it clearly marks the political awakening of Gen Z. Many times Gen Zs are clearly referred as generation who do not have understanding or interest in politics, and this is seen in Bulgaria also, because the turnout ratio of voter turnout ratio was very low, and now we have seen a kind of sudden political awakening. Shift from apathy to activism is also something that we are seeing here. Earlier youth simply used to migrate away, move away, understanding that there is no hope for them in the country, but now it seems that they are demanding and asking government for their rights, and it overall highlights risk of high corruption and the exclusion of youth. The lesson is very simple, not only for Bulgaria but for every country in the world, that economic growth without trust of the citizens breeds instability as such. That is all about this particular video. I hope you understood the reason behind the Gen Z protest in Bulgaria, what lies beneath it, and what will happen in the future, the possibility of it. That's all for this video. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with fellow aspirants, as well as subscribe to the channel for more such content. Thank you.